Okay, so you've finally taken my advice and you've gone no contact with your avoidant ex. It's been 1 week, 3 weeks, maybe even 5 weeks or more of silence. And the questions you keep asking yourself are, do they even care? What are they thinking? Are they ever going to reach out? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on with an avoidant ex when you finally go no contact. Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. I'm a dating and relationship expert specializing in helping you get your ex back or to get over your ex. And welcome back, my beautiful no contact army. Have you downloaded my app Silencio to help you stay in no contact? If you haven't, the link to that is underneath every single video and podcast. And if you too would like to join our army, just hit the subscribe button and the bell notification and you're in. And to read our manual, go to nocontactsecrets.com where you can read 2 free chapters before you purchase the book. So when you stop reaching out to an avoidant and they notice, they're going to think that it's only temporary. They're not taking your silence seriously, at least not yet. They expect you to reach out at some point because that's what most people have done in the past. And maybe that's what you were doing before. Whenever they pulled away, you chased them, especially if you have an anxious attachment style. So they figure it's going to be the same old, same old. They're not worried. They're living their life, expecting you to pop up at some point. Next, they hope that you will grow during no contact, that you'll come back less needy, less emotional, stronger, calmer, and more self-respecting. They want to see you as emotionally self-sufficient. This makes them feel safer if you do get back together. They hope you'll become someone whose emotions don't feel like a demand. They want a version of you that doesn't overwhelm them with intensity or need reassurance every time something feels off. And one of the ways that women make emotional demands on men is by asking them to talk about how they feel. And here's the thing. Most men, avoidant or not, are not in touch with their feelings. So they feel like a fish out of water when you ask them to explain their emotions. And usually it's your anxiety or insecurity that wants to know the answer to that question. However, actions speak louder than words, and usually men show you how they feel rather than telling you. Their thought process is like, well, I'm here, aren't I? If I wasn't interested, I wouldn't be here. So please stop asking that question. Please stop asking guys to talk about their feelings because all it's going to do most of the time is push them away. Now, avoidants have contradictory expectations, if you hadn't noticed, especially if you're anxious. They want you to miss them, but not need them. They crave significance, but fear expectations. So during the relationship, if you were saying things like, well, you should call more, or I need you to be there for me, that would make an avoidant pull away. And one of the things that anxious women often ask for, and sorry ladies, but it's true, is good morning and good night texts. You're basically asking for a digital umbilical cord. Now, as an avoidant, I would be embarrassed if I ever asked a guy for that. I don't need good morning and good night texts because I don't rely on external validation for my emotional regulation. Avoidants don't want to feel responsible for your happiness. If you learn nothing else about avoidance, please keep that in mind. They do not want to be responsible for your happiness. That's your job. So their hope is that if you work on yourself, you won't rely on them for validation. So now you're silent, and that tells their nervous system that there's no chasing, there's no drama, there's no guilt, and that absence of pursuit makes them feel safe to approach you again, but only after they've had enough time to realize that their distance doesn't actually feel good. Curiosity grows when pressure disappears, and by being in no contact, you remove the pressure. Now, they also hope that you're still thinking about them, that they still have emotional power over you. That feeds their ego and calms their fear of being forgotten. That way, they can feel that you're still there waiting for them, and they can take their time before reaching out. But as time goes on, they're not so sure that's the case. And that's one of the main reasons that they eventually reach out. However, when they do reach out, if you still come across as too dependent, then they'll just pull away again. So it's not just about getting your ex back. It's not just about hearing from your ex. It's about keeping them once you get them back or once you hear from them. Everyone's focused on getting them back, but they're not focused on getting them back correctly so that the ex doesn't break up with them again or pull away. Now, they're also afraid that you're going to move on, that someone else is going to get the version of you that they didn't appreciate. Your silence leaves room for their imagination to run wild, and imagination is often more intense than reality, right? Because we often expect the worst and assume people are out there living their best lives, but meanwhile, in reality, they're probably just sitting at home reading a book or falling asleep early. Now, avoidants rarely process loss in real time. They intellectualize it, they tell themselves they're fine, and only start to feel the void once the silence stretches longer than expected. So I know that every day feels like a week or a month, but you have to give them the time to come to this realization. Because, they're going to assume that you'll always be there, just as you have been in the past. In your mind, you're the constant, the one who always forgives, always reaches out, always makes things right, and that belief gives them a false sense of security. They don't have to face the fear of loss because deep down, they assume that you'll never really walk away. However, as you let silence do its thing, as the days turn into weeks, and there's still nothing from you, that quiet starts to chip away their confidence. Doubt starts to creep in. They'll wonder, wait, did I push too far this time? Did I finally lose them? And it's going to be subtle at first. They'll check your social media. They'll reread old messages. They'll replay memories, trying to gauge where things shifted. And what used to feel like control now feels like uncertainty. And that's when the silence starts to get under their skin. Not because they miss constant contact, but because they can't feel your energy anymore. And when an avoidant can't feel your energy, that's when the fear of loss truly hits. And that's why I have that video about how to take your power back from your ex. It's about taking back your energy. And I'll put the link to that in the upper right-hand corner on YouTube, and it's also on my Silencio app. So that's usually when they reach out, not out of love at first, but out of curiosity, out of insecurity, out of wanting to know if the door is still open. And if your energy is calm and grounded when they do, then that's what makes them stay. Now, they also expect you to understand them despite their walls, silence, and mixed signals. And I know this is going to piss some of you off. They hope that your love will see their avoidance with compassion instead of the usual anger and rage. They expect you to understand that their distance isn't about rejecting you, it's about fear. And I talked about that in my video from last week about if you've ever been angry at an avoidant, watch this. So I'll put that link in the upper right-hand corner on YouTube. So they want you to read between the lines of their silence and still choose to be there when they finally reach out. So if an avoidant comes back, it's because they felt your absence and you created that not through anger or punishment, but through silence and peace. And that peace is what triggers them because now they're not running away from you. They're being pulled towards you. Your silence became louder than any words you could have said, for those of you that want to give avoidance a piece of your mind. And that calm, self-contained energy is what draws them back. Okay? So now I want to hear from you. How long have you been in no contact? And how is it going? And in the meantime, if you would like my help to get your ex back, you can contact me at theartoflove.net/contact. and we will send you the rates. They are not on the website, and the direct link to that is underneath every single video and podcast. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe. If you're listening to this as a podcast, also subscribe to make sure you don't miss future episodes. And finally, remember, love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.